All right, let's set her down here.
The crystal lies in Everlast Tower.
Isn't it in some manner of temple?
There are no crystal temples in the Duchy of Eternia. 15 years have passed since they stamped out the crystal orthodoxy in this land and remade the Temple of Earth into Everlast Tower. We must reach the city before we can get to the tower, and that means a trip through Frost Peak Passage. The army has special defensive units stationed there to prevent any intruders. It will be a fierce fight, so I suggest we prepare before setting out.
Gats and Zats. I want you to take the proprietress and flee in the ship if worst comes to worst.
Understood.
You can count on us.
I've another report, Lord Marshal. The Wind Vestal and 3 others have been sighted leaving that enormous vessel. They've already fought their way through Frost Peak Passage and are now approaching the city.
Have we received word from the forces deployed to the various lands?
I'm afraid there has been no reply from any quarter.
Then there is no hope of reinforcements.
Shut the valve for the white magic cables.
Surely you don't mean that, Lord Marshal.
It could very well have a serious impact on those receiving treatment in the city.
There is naught else to do. Should the tower be destroyed, the linked cables place the Earth crystal in jeopardy. Order all defensive units to intercept the Wind Vestal at the 3 passages from the city.
Yes, your lordship.
So, Edea, this is the land of your birth.
It is.
Then how about a rundown of the popular date spots? I'll escort you to whichever you wish.
Actually, I'd rather not.
This city is unlike any I have seen before.
It is a curious town indeed. Yet I hadn't noticed till I'd been away for some time.
Edea, what are those stretching toward the city from up on that cliff over there?
Those are the white magic cables. Within them flow energy waves that amplify the effect of white magic. The cables stretch between healing towers throughout the city, allowing patients to receive the latest treatments. That is why few in this land die of illness or disease. The people live in good health everlasting.
Appearances would indicate otherwise.
Waves that amplify the effect of white magic. Is such a thing truly produced here in this land?
Well, the more precise term would be extracted rather than produced. Before I left Eternia, I was thankful for their beneficence. I harbored not a doubt in my mind. But now...
Edea, from where does this cable...
Edea? I thought that might be you! It's been ages! We were classmates at the Officers' Academy! Oh! I was worried when I heard you'd been assigned to the Sky Knights. What a relief to see you safe and sound! Oh, and I heard about your mother, too! My mother? Has something happened to her? Nobody told you? She was recently admitted to the Central Healing Tower. The Central Healing Tower? What happened? You really have no idea, do you? Well, you'd better go pay her a visit then.
She's right this way.
Mother!
Why, Edea, when did you return?
Never mind that. Are you all right?
Of course I am. You mustn't trust everything you hear. And I've been feeling quite a bit better since I came here.
Yes, but...
Well, aren't you going to introduce me?
Oh, about that. You see,
I am Adia's mother, Mazer Lee. Thank you for looking after my daughter. So, you are the Wind Vestal?
Mother, how could you possibly know that?
I am the Grand Marshal's wife, after all. I hear much to which others are not privy. And I am particularly well informed about the Wind Vestal's traveling companions. Sir Alternus provides me with the latest news.
Alternus. I wish he'd mind his own business. But he knows. Oh no, we'd better get out of here.
Oh, relax. I won't report you. After all, it's not that often that I get to see my darling daughter.
Mother.
My, you look almost grown up now, Adia. And to think you were such a spoiled little thing when you left.
Mother, you're embarrassing me.
Don't listen to her, milady. We'd love an in-depth look into Adia's childhood.
What a wonderful friend you've made.
To be in your daughter's company, the pleasure has been all mine.
You stay out of this, Ring-a-Bell.
How wonderful to see you so full of vim and vigor.
I'm sorry if I worried you, Mother.
If that is truly so, then there is one thing you could tell me. Why did you defy your father so? You must have a good reason, I'm sure.
The world. It is being consumed in darkness. Many have already suffered greatly as the shadow envelops the world. 'Tis here counts among them. And the suffering and sorrow will only multiply if we fail to stop it. Agnes has been risking life and limb in her quest to rid the world of this darkness. Yet my former comrades in the Knights of the Eternian Sky sought to capture and even kill her. And it's not only the Sky Knights. The military forces, agencies, and consuls Eternia has dispatched throughout the lands, they've done nothing but cause pain and suffering, and taken many upon many lives. I used to believe anti-crystalism was the true way, but I know now that is not so. After traveling the world, there is so much I've seen for the first time. I've taken in all I've seen and all I've learned, and there, deep in my heart, I've come to know what is black and what is white. That is why I am here now with my dear comrades and friends.
So you have come to do battle with your own father and the Eternian forces?
No, you don't understand. We haven't come seeking battle. We've come to awaken the Earth Crystal.
Awaken it?
Yes. But then I received word that you were ill and receiving treatment. Now I don't know if I should.
There's no need for that.
No need? Mother, what do you mean?
There's no need to worry about me.
It's time for your examination.
Forgive me, but this is where we must say goodbye. Please, do look after my daughter.
Mother!
Adia, the white magic cables extend to that medical tower as well. I wonder to where they all lead.
To the Earth Crystal.
What's this?
Eternia has advanced its medical arts by extracting the crystal's energy. My mother once suffered from a debilitating disease. That she could speak with such vigor today is due to the Earth Crystal.
But how could such a thing be possible? Even Vestals are incapable of extracting power directly from the crystals.
It seems Eternian scholars long studied how to extract such power, and finally succeeded. But I know no more than that.
Wait. What would become of the central medical tower if we were to awaken the Earth Crystal? What of your mother, Adia? And the many others receiving treatment there? If the power provided by that cable were to suddenly cease, the people that depend on it to survive, they might all...
As a Vestal, I can only say that this white magic cable is a desecration upon the Earth Crystal, and yet...
There are people whose lives depend on it?
But only the Eternians benefit. I mean, not awakening the Earth Crystal is it's like abandoning the rest of the world to suffer darkness. It's not an easy choice, but we have to try. We can't let the whole world be covered in darkness.
She's right. The peace and tranquility that Eternia enjoys is built upon the tears of others the world over, and I shall not stand for it. That's why I'm here with you, and that's why you must awaken the Earth Crystal, Anya.
Anya!
All right, then.
I'm glad you understand. Now, to reach Everlast Tower, we must make our way through Eternian Central Command. There are 3 passages leading there from here in the city. We must pass through one of them, but be warned. My father has no doubt deployed an ironclad defense. I never knew there was such a village on the Eastern Passage's byway.
Marza, is that you?
Huh?
I am mistaken. You are much too young, though there is a resemblance. Might I have your name, young one?
Adia.
Of course. That explains the resemblance. This is the birthplace of the Lord Marshal and his wife, the Lady Marzer.
What's this? I'd never heard of such a place before.
Why are there so many graves?
So you know naught of the Great Plague? Well, perhaps it is best that way. Yes, perhaps. What is it? Adia, your mother and father were born right here in this village. Though they were 5 years apart, they were quite close, you know. They lived near each other, and their families got along quite well. It was as if they were brother and sister. At age 18, your father left to enter an elite school in the city of Eternia. He was the great hope of the village, you know. And he did all in his power not to disappoint. He eventually graduated at the head of his class and made a name for himself in the city. The pride and joy of our village he was. It was 21 years ago when your father asked for your mother's hand in marriage. She just 19, and he but 24. So it was they began a new life together in this city of Eternia. It was the following year that the Great Plague struck our village, wiping out most of the residents. Yes. Yes. The Great Plague. 20 years have passed since it first struck. A sickness that began in eastern lands soon spread, wreaking havoc across the world ere it reached our land. It struck the year after your parents were wed and moved to the city, you know. Once the plague took root in Gravemark Village, all roads out of the village were closed. It was on orders from the head temple of the Crystal Orthodoxy, ruler of this land at the time. But I still believe they made the right choice. After all, the city of Eternia was spared the Great Plague's devastation. Millions upon millions across the world lost their lives in a matter of months ere the plague subsided. And I have been tending the graves ever since. Your parents paid us a visit upon the road's reopening, you know. They seemed truly sorry that their hometown had to be forsaken for the good of the city. Yes, you may stay the night if you so wish.
A castle made of ice? There's but one word that comes to mind. Imposing.
What is this place?
Castle Frostcoffin. It's been abandoned for 2,000 years. The people of this land call it Vampire Castle, and fear to tread anywhere near it.
Vampire Castle? Sounds like an adventure. What are we waiting for?
The door won't budge. It seems the way is barred.
They say this door suddenly appeared one day amid a fierce blizzard, but it has been shut tight ever since. Let's move on. Our quest lies with the Earth Crystal. It was here that I was raised. I feel as if I haven't been back in ages. But it hasn't truly been so very long. They say home is where the heart is. But all I feel is... loneliness?
Oh, spare me your sickly sweet nostalgia. I mean, we're going to kill you anyway, so...
You're the one who slew Olivia!
I bid you, Victoria, unleash your full power. Spare nothing.
I wouldn't have it any other way. The kid gloves are coming right off!
Why did you kill Olivia?
Why? Let me think. I suppose you could chalk it up to me and my butterfingers. Don't look at me like that. I mean, a crystal vestal? Ha! You're no match for me. And that goes for those fools you're with, too. You stumpy little brat! Stumpy little... Did you hear that, Victor?
Tia! How dare you hurl such heinous language at Victoria? I care not if you are the Grand Marshal's daughter. I'll not rest until you lie dead at Victoria's feet!
Fine. Then I'll not rest until that foul-mouthed girl falls head over heels for me.
I'll have you know I'm in top form today. Now you'll see just how helpless you are before me. Go ahead and try and escape. I'm going to toy with you like a cat before I really sink my teeth into you. Not talking so big now, are you? I grow bored with this. Better say your prayers. This ends...
It's happening again!
Victoria!
Victor,
Alas, you have grown more unstable than I had feared. We must seek treatment at once.
Hey, wait!
Where did they go?
Victor spoke of getting treatment. The closest place around here for that would be... the room to the right!
What? This...
Look!
What is that?
Silence, if you please. She would likely perish if we were to disturb her now.
Victor S. Court? What is the meaning of this? Who or what exactly is that child?
Allow me to tell you a story, if I may.
In other words, you're stalling for time. Time enough to replenish Victoria's power.
No, that is not my intention. This treatment is merely a bid to save her life. Now, about that story. In truth, it is a tale of the not-too-distant past. Once upon a time, in a place not of this land, there was an orphan child suffering an incurable disease. Her name was Victoria. Abandoned by physicians and all around her, she simply waited upon her inevitable demise, all the while gasping in pain and despair. But hearing her voiceless pleas, the Lord Marshal took her in his arms and brought her back to Eternia.
My father did that?
Were it not for his lordship, her fragile life would have soon been snuffed out. I am sure you are well aware, Adia, but science and medicine in our lands have advanced greatly with the use of white magic. I was pulled from my studies on the Earth Crystal to treat her. And yet my treatments were still experimental, incomplete. She survived, but ill effects linger. Side effects graver still than her original condition. Fits like that you witness strike periodically, and their frequency increases with each day. Violent turns of mood soon stripped her of any semblance of self-control. Each time her tiny form is racked with pain, I ask myself, knowing the result, would I still have intervened as I did? But ever is my answer the same. As long as I draw breath, I will see that she does too. No matter how she suffers, I'll not allow her to die. She is both my crime and my redemption. My ego, my joy. I dedicate my entirety to her, and know no greater pleasure.
What nonsense. I mean, really, Victor. That was so boring and really long, too.
Forgive me, Victoria. How do you fare now?
Back to my old self. But I don't think I could take another one of those fits. Now, let's take care of these fools once and for all. To think you'd just stand around twiddling your thumbs when you had a second chance to finish me. But that just proves you're the fools I knew you were. Victor, don't blame me. You're the ones who just dug their own grave. Victor, where are you?
Right here, by your side.
I just wanted to say, I really hate you. You wouldn't let me die, though I suffered so. But now, finally, I'm free of this pain.
No, I will not let you go. If I'm to die, my soul, it shall join you.
Fine. I suppose there's no getting rid of you.
Thank you, Victoria. Sweet Victoria.
Hail, Nescient children of man.
Who's there?
A petulant daughter's act of rebellion against the father who neglected her.
What?
The naive Vestal's sense of justice as dictated by others, unquestioned as it is unflinching. An orphaned existence, ignorant of himself and alone in this world. Has playing as the trusty friend filled your hollow soul, boy?
Show yourself!
Not but children, all of you.
What?
I am done here. I leave the rest to you, Alternus Dim.
Your cooperation is much appreciated.
Cooperation? No. It is simply a matter of friendly concern. My interest lies in the Templars, the Grand Marshal's daughter. You may cast the remaining 3 into the dungeon, if you so wish.
Yes, my lord.
The 2 newest members of the Council of 6 have perished at the hands of the Vestal. 'Tis such a pity. I never had the chance to meet them.
So Victor and Victoria have met their end?
Yes, Lord Marshal.
The tragic end to tragic lives.
Indeed. But the Vestal and their fellow conspirators have been captured.
Though the toll was heavy, we have them at last. Well done, Altonus. Well done.
No, this was not my doing. It was his.
I see.
There was one more matter, Lord Marshal. Your daughter, Edea, is in her room.
And?
I simply thought you'd wish to know.
Is this my room? Where is everybody?
No, leave us. I simply wish to speak with my daughter. Now go.
Father. You never learned to knock first, no matter how many times I asked.
It seems like ages.
What have you done with my friends? Where have you taken them?
Your fellow conspirators are held in the dungeon.
The dungeon? I'd feared that. So they yet live?
As for the Wind Vestal...
Agnes! What will you do with her? You'll bring ruin upon Eternia if you harm a hair on her head!
You speak of ruin. It is you and your conspirators who nearly brought ruin upon this land. Crystalism is a cult, a tool for deceiving the masses. We can trust them with the crystals no longer. The Wind Vestal shall never again see the light of day. And should she persist with her uncooperative attitude...
Then it's as I feared. You'll have her executed, though she was merely caught in a web spun of your selfish ideals.
Selfish, you say?
Well, they are, aren't they? You send big men to chase down and capture one little girl. You wage war far and wide. You ravage nature. You bring suffering upon innocence. Are those your ideals, Father? What is it you're trying to do? I don't understand. I just don't understand.
I did not raise you to be such a shallow little fool.
Father, why do you say such things?
The Earth Crystal is now the last of the crystals here upon Luxendark to retain its normal state. All who seek to awaken the crystal, whether the Vestal or my own flesh and blood, shall face the wrath of my blade! You shall remain here whilst you regain your senses.
And just how long am I to be your prisoner?
Until you realize the error of your ways! Redouble the guard. My daughter poses a graver threat than you might think.
It's as I feared. Father does not understand.
Lord DeRosso, Your Grace, what brings you here? It has been 15 years since you last ventured forth.
"15, you say? It brings me joy to see what a fine Grand Marshal you have become. For an immortal such as I, 15 years seems but a fleeting moment in time. Do you recall that day? It was dreadfully cold by your reckoning, though just the sort of weather in which I delight. Upon ceding the head counselor's seat to you, I retired to my castle and partook of a goblet of steaming wine. And now 15 years have passed since you rid yourself of me by naming me Archduke. But I ask you, are you content? You seized the Earth Crystal and laid waste to the places sacred to the Orthodoxy, and you brought the crystals under the dominion of man, exploiting them to build your ideal society. All great deeds we failed to accomplish. You should be proud.
I did it not for pride.
I would have you accept my words as true, for there is no veiled reproach therein. Indeed, you have acted most valiantly, unlike we who have long done naught but watch from the shadow. And yet, you have been too hasty, brave the Templar. I fear I do not share your urgency, for my life has spanned 2,400 years. But I understand the reasoning therein, and it is from such understanding that I say you have been too hasty.
Though 15 years have passed, you have changed not one bit. However, if I might respond...
Father just doesn't understand. Right. All ready. It's quite a way to the dungeon, but I'll manage.
Forgive me, Lord Marshal. Is Edea here with you?
No, she is not. She was supposed to be confined to her chambers.
Yes, Lord Marshal, she was. But she suddenly disappeared.
What's this? We're not the sentries vigilant?
They claim never to have stepped from their post. Her chamber door was never opened.
Then how could she have?
Her father's daughter indeed. She acts from the same sentiments. Those sentiments that you once held for the Crystal Orthodoxy.
How could you know that? Have you not been away from this land these 15 years?
Was it not you who drove me to exile? Well, be that as it may. But to one such as I, you and your daughter are one and the same. Passionate, stubborn, not even 100 years old. So it is I can understand what both father and daughter are thinking, simply by watching. You ought try speaking with her, and listening too. Your time for such opportunities grows short. Crystalism, anti-crystalism. The quarrel between you and your daughter is but a proxy for that clash of ideas. Open your heart before it is too late. The very future of this world hangs in the balance.
You truly have not changed, have you?
Is that so? Well, you must forgive me. But lest you forget, it was you who appointed me Archduke.
I know the dungeon key is around here. Found it! Now to free everyone. Are you alright, Ring-a-Bell?
Why wouldn't I be? I mean, I knew you'd come. All I had to do is sit back and wait. And, well, here you are. I'm the luckiest man alive. You're my savior, my goddess. Let me thank you with a big kiss.
Ring-a-Bell, are you coming or not? I can leave you here.
Oh, of course. Let's go.
Thanks, Adia. You're a lifesaver.
You're quite welcome. But it was really nothing. After all, I was raised within Central Command's walls. I know every nook and cranny.
Were you able to speak with your father?
Huh? What does it matter to you?
You have family you can talk to. You ought to, you know.
You would forgive my father? Grand Marshal of Eternian Forces. Head Counselor of the Council of Six. You've seen how much Agnes has suffered because of my father's orders.
True enough.
You need not worry about me. We need to focus on awakening the Earth Crystal.
All right.
Agnes, are you all right?
I am. Now that you're here, Adia, I'm glad to see you're safe and sound too.
Me?
Well, the Eternian forces do view you as a traitor to your homeland. I feared they'd have some unspeakable punishment awaiting you.
You needn't worry about that. My father is not so draconian as that. And yet, on second thought...
At least no harm has come to you.
I'd like to thank you too, Adia. You saved me from having to search this entire dungeon.
Eri, do you think you could have carried this key around? You're so little after all.
It does look really heavy. I'd rather not think about lugging that about.
There's nothing to worry about now that I'm here. Well, I better lead the way. With your poor sense of direction, Agnes, who knows where we'd end up.
Now hold on. My sense of direction has improved. At least somewhat.
Isn't that simply a matter of having Eri and Tiz lead the way?
Well, that may be, but...
Don't take it so hard. Now come on, follow me.
If you say so.
Now, if we can get through here, then... Hold on while I try this key. It won't open.
Are you sure? Do we need a different key?
I don't understand. I'd thought...
Little Adia, In a bit of a bind?
Who's there?
Sage? Is that you? What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? I could ask you the same. As for me, I'm right where I belong.
Right where you...
Yes, indeed. You see, I'm a founding member of the council that preceded the Duchy of Eternia, and that would make me your enemy.
I don't... understand.
I've been sequestered in Yuliana Woods ever since that Templar Brave Lee seized power. But the fact remains, I still count among the members of the Council of Six.
You were acquainted with my father? Then you must have known who I am. Why didn't you say so, you miserable old Lex?
I saw little need, being that I was in seclusion and no longer attending the council.
This cannot be. You were a trusted friend to us. A teacher-like figure who rendered aid. And to now hear you say you serve Eternia? The people who killed the Earth Vestal, the Fire Vestal. Olivia, I don't understand. Who are you, really?
Who indeed? I am but an outsider looking in.
What do you want with us?
An old friend has risen from a long slumber, so I came to see him. While I was here, I thought I would deliver a warning.
A warning?
Then you yet serve the Duchy's forces and mean to stand against us?
You are not entirely wrong there. This world is not so clean or pleasant as you may think. I suspect your journey this far has taught you as much. Malice is not the only enemy. The road to ruin is oft paved with good intention. With action comes consequence. The joy of some may be the misery of others. To decide one way is to abandon the other. Knowing this, will you continue upon your chosen road?
Nothing could stop me.
You mean us?
Right. Us. We've come so far together.
Is that so? Well then, have the courage to think and act on your own.
Those words, have the courage to disobey.
Well now, you do remember.
Say...
Step back.
Sage?
Know that ever shall I be watching over you.
Command lies ahead. Ember of the Council of Six is housed at its summit.
So that's where we'll find your father, Adia?
Yes. Along with the Dark Knight Alternus Dim and that strange man who put us to sleep.
Well, we need the key Adia's father has. That's the only way we'll make it to the Earth Crystal. If we can just get the key, maybe we can avoid fighting a lot of people.
I'm afraid that is one big if.
Lord Marshal, the gate to the dungeon was utterly destroyed. But why would Yuliana assist in the Wind Vestal's escape?
The capricious old fool. I cannot fathom his thoughts. But that the two appear now after 15 years, it's as if they have come to gloat over my demise.
Lord Marshal, I'm afraid I don't understand. It is unlike you to utter such bleak words.
Victor and Victoria are defeated, and we no longer receive word from our squads deployed abroad. Those two grandsires said their piece ere going into hiding again. All that remains now of the Council of Six are you and I, Alternus.
I shall not concede defeat. Were we but to slay the Wind Vestal.
And what of my daughter? Could you slay her too? Hear me, Dark Knight, Alternus Dim. I would have you escape while you still may.
Your Lordship, I must protest. Am I such a burden to be sent away so?
It is my faith in you that makes me bid you leave. For I have a task I would entrust to no one else.
You need merely speak the word.
The time has come for me to share my true aim in restoring the Duchy of Eternia and reveal the secret borne by its predecessor. Until now, only I and those two grandsires were privy to such knowledge.
This is the room where I grew up.
So this was your room.
Hey, ring a bell. Let a girl keep some privacy.
Where's the fun in that? This place must be full of memories. I can almost taste them. I don't have any memories, least any I can recall. So forgive me if I wax a little sentimental here. They say you can tell a person by their room. And all I can say is, what a fine room you have here.
Thank you.
Hey, isn't that a picture of you, Adia? You look so young.
Oh, how embarrassing. Let's pretend you didn't see that.
Here's one with your entire family.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Seeing this picture leaves no doubt of the depth of your father's love for his daughter.
If by love you mean exasperation, you may be right.
Are you truly prepared to battle your own father?
That would seem to be my destiny. You could say I truly am my father's daughter. We are both of a mind that shan't ever waver once we decide upon something. To go against one willing to die for his beliefs calls for steely resolve. That is why I...
It doesn't have to be this way.
How so?
It serves no purpose to abandon dialogue from the start. Not while you are both here to talk.
I will consider it.
That cannot be. How could such a secret be behind the crystals?
It's not for us to question the truth. I will see that the Vestal and her followers are stopped here. And you, I would have you prepare for the worst. The Pillar of Light will appear somewhere in this world. You must find it, Alternus. And you must be victorious.
Father.
How could I have not known about that secret passage to your room? What am I to do with you now, Adia?
Well, I've been using it almost as long as I could walk. It's come in handy more than once.
I see.
Listen, Father. The truth is... Well, I wanted to help you fulfill your ideals. I truly did. I think I was lonely. I mean, no matter how I tried to get through to you, you never paid me any mind. It was as if you always had your back turned towards me until I left Eternia.
It was not that I never accepted you. Rather, you were ever my pride and joy. My assigning you to the Sky Knights was an acknowledgement that you had become the woman I knew you could be. I had thought you might tame that band of ruffians, to bring them to order, and lead them. Alas.
Thank you, Father. I never knew you felt that way.
Do not thank me, for I too shall do whatever it takes. I cannot allow you to lay hands upon the crystal. Mine is a cause that I shall not willingly abandon.
Yes, it was when she first fell ill that you began to rush the pursuit of your ideals. Was it not?
I will not stand by and watch you ruin all I've made. You and your band shall not pass.
Why, Father? Why must you always refuse to listen to me? Are we really that different?
My ideals are no longer my own. It is my calling, nay, my duty, to protect this world.
Protect the world? But it's you, Father, who endangers it! Is this battle between us all but inevitable? I came here knowing that mere words could never bend your will. And yet...
You've come this far, only to spout such sickly sweet sentiments. You disappoint me. Blood and steel are the final resort between those unwilling to concede their beliefs. I am Brave Lee, the Templar, Grand Marshal of Eternia. Prepare for battle! Shall not pass. You shall not pass!
I'll give my all!
You have grown strong, my daughter. You should not have come.
Forgive me, Brave. Forgive me, Adia. This is all my fault.
What is this foolishness you speak? You are ever the strength that keeps me alive. And I love you and Adia dearly.
Father?
Do not fear. He is merely unconscious. His wounds, they will heal. Though it will take some time, and he may never wield his sword again.
Mother, I took up arms against Father. I told myself I was ready to fight him, even if it meant shortening his years.
Then surely you will not stray from your path, so long as you hold that feeling near and dear. By your actions, you have finally granted your father a reprieve from his anguished struggle. It was for the best.
Mother, we now go to awaken the Earth Crystal.
I see.
Forgive me.
There is no need to ask my forgiveness.
Oh, but there is, Mother. For if we awaken the crystal, your treatments will no longer be possible. We will no longer be able to keep what ails you at bay. What sort of daughter does that to her mother?
Oh, Adia, you truly are your father's daughter. And that is what makes you even more dear to me.
Mother!
How very touching. I beg pardon for my interruption, but your fear is misplaced.
And you are?
Of course, you had yet to see me in this form. I am Lester de Rosso, but you may address me as Lord de Rosso.
What do you mean our fear is misplaced?
It appears you have underestimated the Templar's great deeds. Deeds for which he risked life and limb. For he has advanced science and medicine in this land by 100 years. While complete cures may not yet be possible, sickness and disease can be prevented from further progression. Awakening the crystal shall not rob your mother of such mortal life as she has left, Idia.
So then...
We're free to awaken the crystal.
Dear.
Ironic, is it not? To think I would be the one to urge the Wind Vestal and her companions to awaken the crystal. I can see purpose unwavering in your eyes. 'Tis as if I gaze upon Brave the Templar in his youth. And yet, there is still much that you cannot fathom. I have seen years measuring in thousands. Hope and sentiment intertwined with right and wrong, good and evil. The rise and fall of the Orthodoxy. The restoration of Eternia. The two conflicting beliefs concerning the crystals. So much may happen in a life immortal.
The way to Everlast Tower is beyond this door.
Let's go!
This was once the Temple of Earth. Look what has become of it.
I've never set foot here either. Yet the change is clear.
Well, at least it seems the Eternian forces dare not deploy troops here.
Yet, I sense a foul presence.
Monsters, no doubt.
They may be after the Earth Crystal.
Let's hurry!
Let's see. It says, observations of the crystal, submitted by... What? Victor S. Court? Wow! Not that I really understand.
Yes, I'm afraid I didn't follow that either.
It seems I must look beyond what I had thought was simple desecration of the crystal.
The healing waves emanating from the crystal. This one also reads, submitted by Victor S. Court. It seems they truly wish to advance medicine.
That treatment Idia's mother was receiving must have resulted from this research.
How could have such worthy efforts gone so terribly wrong?
Interim report on alchemical life research. Oh, this one reads, submitted by Vincent S. Cord.
Alchemical life? They went beyond merely saving lives?
Wait, there's more. This so-called alchemical life is unstable, and keeping the resulting subjects alive comes at great difficulty. So, it seems they propose that the research be shut down. Let's see. Oh, this is an account by a crystallist of high standing. This is what the author wrote about the Great Plague.
How terrible! How could they be so cruel?
By saying we had no other choice, no doubt.
But to have a way to battle the plague and not use it, they simply forsook them. The end of the plague. The date is much later than the past entries.
He sounded like a hero in the making, if he had counted among the Orthodoxy's leaders. this land would have perhaps changed for the better. But then perhaps I wouldn't have been here with you today.
The end of the world. So that's how the Earth Vestal was slain.
What an awful tale.
With a stroke of his long blade.
The Reconquest of Eternia. The Reconquest campaign. Troop deployment. Head temple occupation. It's the occupation of the city.
Is this the Earth Crystal? What have they done to it?
How awful!
What do they think the crystal is? Some kind of toy?
Forgive me.
No, Idia. Why should you repent for the sins of your father? Now, let's get on with the rite of awakening.
What's that on the crystal?
That's Gigas Lich! It's the propagator of doom as told of in the sacred texts of the Orthodox.
Well, whatever it is, here it comes!
I wonder when that creature first settled here. I refuse to believe this could be my father's doing.
For better or worse, I believe the Eternian forces would have guarded the crystal from such threats. Maybe it took advantage of their weakened state to slip in unnoticed.
Save your jabbering for later! We have a crystal. Okay, here goes. This is the fourth and final crystal. Make us proud, Agnes! What's wrong? It's really nothing. But time and time again, the Duchy's people have warned us not to awaken the crystal. Agnes! I know. I ought not let it bother me. Now, let us begin, Eri.
Holy smokes! That was by far the brightest of the 4 crystals.
Agnes, are you alright?
Yes. Thank you, Tiz. Now all 4 of Luxembourg's crystals have been awakened. Nice work, everyone. What a joyous day. Now perhaps the world...
Is the Great Chasm gone?
Nuh-uh. Awakening all 4 crystals should have caused a pillar of light to rise somewhere in our world. It's the Holy Pillar, the first light, divine source of life and the origin of this world and the heavens above. Once I place my brooch within the Holy Pillar, the first light will spread across the world, and its divine light, born of the awakened crystals, will sweep away all darkness, and the Great Chasm should vanish along with the darkness.
So all we need to do is take you into the Pillar of Light. Then let's go! That is where this will all end.
Lead the way.
I'm with you.
Together we go.
Hey, well done!
Well, it's not as if we had it easy here. You should have seen the hail of cannon fire. Oh, and by the way, we saw a black airship bearing southwest a short while ago.
Probably a bunch of deserters. Always happens when an enemy is vanquished.
Yep, sure does.
It's no use. The lock won't open.
If you wish to pass this gate, seek you the 6 keystones throughout the lands.
Keystones?
Keys of stone? Stones that are keys?
Though the way is barred, 6 number the holes to be filled. I trust you can figure out the rest. The time is ripe to prove yourselves worthy. I shall say no more.
No fair! Couldn't you offer a small hint? Perhaps a name, a color, a shape?
I said I shall say no more. Now off with you.
Did you hear that sound? I believe the gate is finally unlocked.
That was anticlimactic. He could have at least included a flash, a bang, or a puff of smoke.
Let's head in before Ringabel has a chance to flap his gums again. It's freezing in here! Even colder than it is outside!
Look at all those paintings.
Did we just stumble into an art gallery?
They all have a sort of forlorn look to them.
My, what a large portrait. Is that Lord De Rosso?
His wife was sure an attractive one. Oh, and it says something under the painting. Lester, eldest son of the House of De Rosso, future clergyman of the Crystal Adventists and cardinal of the Crystal Orthodoxy, born in the land of Eternia on a cold winter's day. So, that's his mother, not his beautiful young wife. And that little baby is Lord De Rosso.
Clergyman? Of the Crystal Adventists?
Is something the matter, Agnes?
The Crystal Adventists were the predecessors of the Crystal Orthodoxy. It is now known as the Old Faith, but it hasn't been practiced in over 2,400 years. How could he have been a member of the Adventist clergy? According to this portrait, Lord De Rosso is incredibly old, even ancient.
Yes, indeed. For I was born of these frozen lands in a time some 2,400 years from this day.
And this portrait?
I was but an infant, as you can see. This is a reproduction, however. The original was lost long ago to fire.
And what of the part that reads, Clergyman of the Crystal Adventists and Cardinal of the Crystal Orthodoxy?
Yes. As Wind Vestal, you would be expected to take interest in such matters. But ere I delve into the matter of the Old Faith and the Orthodoxy, allow me to tell of the founding of this land. As you may well know, this land had long been ruled by the Crystal Orthodoxy. However, 15 years passed, the Templar rose up and occupied their lands. Thus was the Duchy of Eternia born, or so I expect you have been taught. However, the Templar did not found a new state. In truth, he restored an ancient dynasty.
He did?
Long before the Crystal Orthodoxy ruled this land, it was known as the Kingdom of Eternia. In a time 2,400 years past, Eternia was a bountiful land blessed with 4 distinct seasons. The highlands were not as lofty as they are today. People and ideas flowed freely from other lands. The kings of Eternia were protectors of the Earth Crystal and the Crystal Adventists, ruling in peace for generations. To the west lay the castle of the House of De Rosso, hereditary dukes of Eternia with royal blood in their veins. Relations with the royal family were good, and ever did the kings of Eternia treat the dukes of our house with kindness. In return, the House of De Rosso did faithfully serve generations of Eternian kings.
A family. Little did he know of the approaching maelstrom. Such tragedy that we could not possibly fathom.
What magnificent vestments. This must be none other than Lord De Rosso.
'Tis a portrait of my ordainment as Cardinal of the Orthodoxy. I was as yet... No, let us move on to other matters. I was born of the House of De Rosso, hereditary Dukes of Eternia. Blessed was my youth. My parents showered affection upon me, and I was beloved by the people. And the king bestowed favor upon me as well. Upon royal recommendation, I was made a cleric of the Crystal Adventists, the old faith, in my 19th year. I devoted my body and soul to my clerical duties, for king, for kingdom, for faith. Sleep became an oft-missed luxury. But before long, a new tide began sweeping through the Crystal Adventists. There were those who wanted the clergy to control the 4 crystals of Luxendark, rather than local monarchies and temples. That belief formed the core of the Crystal Orthodoxy. The Eternian royal family, keepers of the Earth Crystal, immediately assented to this new way. I soon found myself appointed to the position of cardinal in the Orthodoxy. Me, a mere cleric, Cardinal De Rosso. Those were my days of glory. Even now, the mere sound of the then new title is dear to me. The old faith was remade entirely into the Crystal Orthodoxy, and the decision was made to elect a Grand Patriarch to rule. Thereupon, cardinals throughout the world gathered for a conclave to elect the first Grand Patriarch. Amid the conclave's maelstrom, I was approached by a cardinal who wished for me to vote for his choice. I suppose it was my youth and sincerity that made me reject the notion out of hand. But that was my downfall, for I was forced from the position of cardinal by the fraudulently elected Grand Patriarch. I had been but fervent in my beliefs and ideals. What I did only for the Orthodoxy and for the people of this world.
The old faith and the Orthodoxy. The Kingdom of Eternia and the Duchy. That was all a bit hard to follow.
I agree. There are no major differences in teachings between the Old Faith and Orthodoxy. They both revere the 4 crystals. I have heard that the Adventists gave way to the new and truer ideas of the Orthodoxy and faded away.
No wonder the old faith was abandoned.
Yet there is more to the story, for history is not more than accounts recorded by the victorious. To solidify their power, the victors showered contempt upon the vanquished. So it was those who held the reins of power within the Orthodoxy relentlessly pressed for the Adventists' eradication. No one recalls the words of the vanquished if the victorious write them out of history. 'Tis as if they had never existed.
I'd been taught that the battle between the 2 faiths had been fierce, and in its wake, devastation persisting to this day covered all the lands.
That is an uncharacteristically accurate account for the Orthodoxy. Save for their false reckoning of time. It was after the Orthodoxy had begun ruling the world that the endless conflict with the Adventists began. I should know, for I was there to bear witness firsthand.
Lord De Rosso, how could you possibly be that old?
Lord De Rosso's ordainment portrait.
From the old faith to the Orthodoxy, Lord De Rosso's fate was sealed upon his ordainment.
This one shows a castle in flames.
A large army surrounds it. It looks as if it could fall at any moment.
Is this not this very castle? See, this is the western corridor right here.
There's another castle burning in the distance. It's near where Eternian Central Command is today.
So then, that's the Orthodoxy's head temple in flames?
Nay, the distant castle in flames belonged to the King of Eternia, and the castle in the fore 'Tis the abode of my family, the House of De Rosso.
But why? Why would such a terrible thing?
The kingdom of Eternia was suddenly beset by a great host from another land. We would later come to know that it was a 4-state coalition sent by order of the Crystal Orthodoxy. They had been told the king of Eternia sought a return to Adventism and was arming for war against the Orthodoxy. The Grand Patriarchy used this fiction to order a great muster of forces from across the lands. Alas, I failed to heed the many warning signs. I rejected the scheming cardinal's choice for Grand Patriarch, but he succeeded in luring votes from other factions, and his became the ruling faction of the Grand Patriarchy. It was they who wished to establish Crystal Orthodoxy as the uncontested world religion. Under their orders, the castle of the Eternian king was besieged. It fell in mere weeks. Before long, the great host was at the gates of our castle, and my father lay brutally murdered. The water supply was poisoned, and the Orthodoxy's forces drew an ironclad ring around the castle. By then, the castle sheltered naught but the elderly, the young, the wounded. There was no hope of resistance. I was forced to sue for peace, even offering my own mother as hostage per their demands. Yet that failed to break the siege. The commoners who had placed their faith in my family and me slowly starved to death. It was then that a letter arrived from a man. That man was the cardinal, who had sought to influence my vote. The fiend was now the officer in charge of the attack. He wrote that he would not accept my surrender. Such was the hatred he bore for me. Such hatred that he was willing to let countless innocents die. My mother had been murdered. Our castle was consumed in flames. That is the painting you see here.
How could the Orthodoxy do such a thing?
This all reminds me of what happened during the Great Plague.
Indeed. Perhaps the Templar and I are not so very different. To be betrayed by what you believe in. To have your family and those you protect murdered. Though we do not see eye to eye, perhaps it is a shared sorrow that binds us.
Lord De Rosso's castle siege painting.
Such a tragic tale.
Look!
Such fierce flames.
Though I wish not to remember that day, it is indelibly etched upon my mind.
How did you survive?
The Orthodoxy lay siege yet would accept no surrender. My mother, father, relatives, and my people lay dead. It was then I set our castle ablaze. But as the flames began to lick my body, something slipped into me. Betrayed by the precepts I believed in, was I not bitter? Robbed of my beloved homeland, my dearest of kin, my people, slain. Amid such despair, was I content to simply welcome death? Nay, I heard a voice. Accept me, and I shall grant life everlasting. Though it shall be filled with grief, thou shalt have all eternity to wreak vengeance upon thine enemies. Did I forge a dark pact with some fiendish entity that day? Or was it a rebirth, triggered by a future me, reaching back to the past? Panicked upon failing to find my body, the Orthodoxy chose to denounce my family and me as ghoulish vampires. Thus have I been living an immortal existence ever since.
Then the name Vampire Castle is...
A lie that has been perpetrated by the Orthodoxy for some 2,400 years. Though it is true I am immortal, I am no vampire. I find the smell of blood too revolting to ever drink it. Having said that, I have done naught to quell the rumors. In truth, I endeavored to embellish them. My ability to transform myself into a bat and grow these fangs are the fruits of many years. Long, long years of effort. Tell me, O Vestal of the Wind, what does the Crystal Orthodoxy have to say about the passing of the first Grand Patriarch?
He chose the second Grand Patriarch and prayed for peace and the well-being of the faithful as he passed peacefully from this world.
Passed peacefully from this world, you say? I know the truth to be far different.
What do you mean?
The first Grand Patriarch was assassinated, along with his Archbishop, the man who had been my bane. The assassin himself tells you this. There is no other truth. That was when I forsook this land. Soon after, sightings of the vampire Lester de Rosso began to crop up throughout the world. I became a veritable Duke of Darkness, forging ties with those bearing hatred toward the Orthodoxy, and those it had oppressed. I was the enemy of man, the hated and feared vampire. But more than that, I was known as the arch-enemy of the Orthodoxy. And after some 500 years, a fateful encounter with one whom you all know well. No. Let us leave the matter for another time.
The portrait depicting Lord De Rosso's immortality.
He was granted everlasting life. He can't ever die. A battlefield landscape?
It represents the long and hard-fought war between the Orthodoxy and we denizens of darkness. For 500 years, my thirst for vengeance remained unsated. It had also been 500 years since the Orthodoxy had been founded. The world was in the midst of an age of seafaring and piracy. Compared to the great exchange of ideas and information, the once hallowed Orthodoxy began to lose its luster. The authority of the Grand Patriarch and the Orthodoxy itself began to wane. Fearing irrelevancy, the Grand Patriarchy acted rashly to regain its authority. This led to the unusual decision to select a commoner, the gifted young Yuliana, for an important task.
Yuliana? Sage Yuliana?
Yes, indeed. At age 20, the young Yuliana became High Inquisitor of the Crystal Orthodoxy.
It's hard to believe he ever was young.
It was no laughing matter, for there was no one more skilled at rooting out enemies of the faith than he. The shadowy ones, those who had been working against the Orthodoxy, were crushed by the host he led. In the several decades that saw him age, I cannot count the number of times we have crossed swords, he and I. In the great battle waged on the Karka Plain, the might of our clashing forces rent the very earth into a vast rift.
You mean the rift under Ison Bridge?
In the battle at the foot of Mount Fragmentum, our armies smote the mountain to its very roots.
So that's how that ravine was created.
And in the battle fought on the Harina Plain, the once fertile earth was reduced to desolation. The loss of that fertile plain is believed to have ushered in the downfall of the Harina dynasty.
To think any sort of battle could change the face of the earth so.
We fought our final battle 1,800 years ago on the Norende Heights in the land of Kaldisla.
The Norende Heights? That's where the Great Chasm opened up!
In the end, Yuliana, High Inquisitor of the Crystal Orthodoxy, utterly defeated me. Lord De Rosso, leader of the Shadows.
You were defeated? But you're here with us today!
Yes, well, there was more to that final battle than meets the eye. You see, I ceded the glory of victory to young Yuliana that day. I say young in my reckoning, for he was already 100 then. Yuliana returned triumphantly to Eternia with what he claimed to be my remains. What he brought them was not human. And when the Templar attacked the head temple 15 years past, it is said they found my tomb deep underground. Ever dreading the darkness and my return, The Orthodoxy kept those duplicitous remains under arcane seal for over 1,000 years. 'Tis a tale replete with irony, is it not?
Lord De Roso's war landscape.
It's hard to imagine a war lasting 500 years.
That is Sage Juliana.
Yes, indeed. No one would mistake such a man for young now. Having put down the blood-sucking Lord De Roso, bane of the Crystal Orthodoxy, he became the first ever commoner to become an archbishop. Perhaps it was a small honor they threw his way, for he was already 101 years old and would not long count among the living.
That makes it sound despicable.
Agreed. The truth is, however, that was when Juliana's plot was at its most clever.
The sage's plot? What was he plotting?
He was taking measures to separate you Vestals and the faithful among the people from the Orthodoxy's corruption. After serving some 80 years, he had witnessed firsthand how corrupt the institution had become. Should nothing be done, it would not be long before the putrid poison would do harm to the most innocent of the faith. So it was he vowed to rid the Orthodoxy of the source of this poison, the concentration of power.
But
for the great feat of defeating me, Juliana had been made archbishop, but in name only. But such was not key to his plot. Timing was the key. The proper time to separate the Vestals and the faithful from the Orthodoxy.
And just what timing would that be?
The great upthrust of the Eternian Highlands. At the time, the Highlands were not so formidable as they are today, but a colossal movement of earth and rock thrust the Highlands to lofty heights, thereby isolating Eternia from the world.
Hold on a moment. He was waiting for the Earth to move? How could he have known when such an event would take place?
I shall tell you in time. For now, I will say this. Juliana bided his time till the Orthodoxy was cut off from the world, and at last, it happened. The Highlands ringing Eternia did thrust up to about half its height today. The Orthodoxy-ruled Eternia now found itself completely isolated, for this was an age preceding the airship, and while the Earth Crystal remained in their keep, control of the crystals of fire, water, and wind was returned to their respective temples. This, what you believe to be the true form of crystalism, is the fruit of Juliana's efforts.
That was the sage's doing? I won't ever call him a miserable old lech again.
Say...
A portrait of the Archbishop.
He looks just as he does today, save for that elaborate attire.
what is that glowing jewel-like object? I could swear I've seen something like that before.
I believe you have seen a similar sight countless times. It is known as an asterisk.
An asterisk? As in those objects we possess?
Yes, indeed. The second stage in Juliana's plot against the Orthodoxy's authority was to deprive them of the power to grant vocations.
Grant vocations? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Before Juliana intervened, special approval was required to change vocations within the Crystal Orthodoxy. In this way, the institution grew rich through fat profits they called alms.
Oh, so the Orthodoxy cornered the job market and the fees to participate therein?
In layman's terms, yes. But Juliana exposed this fact before the reigning Grand Patriarch. It was then that Juliana approached panicked high officials and the Grand Patriarch himself with a proposal of pure genius. He showed them a stone known as an asterisk, saying the granting of vocation should be based on it. overseen by the Orthodoxy. Those who sought such vocations would apply to the Orthodoxy and pay a fair price. Anyone with the means to pay could thus learn a new job.
That's no different from the old system where people had to pay alms.
No different indeed. But the Grand Patriarch and his officials had naught but the material profits of the Orthodoxy in mind. Hence, they accepted Yuliana's proposal without question, even appointing him to the important position of overseeing the new asterisk system.
I fail to see how that really changed it.
Well, it did far more than you would guess, for he was the only one who knew how to make the asterisk stones.
Why, that wily old fox?
So it was Yuliana robbed the Orthodoxy of its authority to grant jobs and took it for himself.
What of the Orthodoxy's profits? Wouldn't they demand Yuliana transfer the proceeds to their coffers?
Yuliana was long gone. Abandoning the seat of Archbishop, he fled with his knowledge of the asterisk craft. He also took arms and armor the Orthodoxy had seized from around the world. Items of such power that their use was forbidden. He took them all and sealed them away in a hidden location. They now lie secreted away against the day the Orthodoxy's tyranny or some other impending doom threatens the people. He then hid himself in Yuliana Woods until those who knew him reached the end of their natural lives. But that did not take long, for I led the forces of the shadows to ensure their swift demise. I had always believed the Crystal Orthodoxy required naught but the crystals, the Vestals, and the faithful. With the institution free of corruption, I returned to my homeland of Eternia after a 700-year absence. Where my family's castle once stood, I built a fortress of ice from whence I have been watching over the Orthodoxy's head temple. Meanwhile, Yuliana retired to that land to tend to the Vestals. But you know of that better than I.
Say Juliana. The asterisk painting.
Sage Juliana created asterisks to chip away at the Crystal Orthodoxy's authority.
I commend you for making it this far.
Oh, no more paintings?
The final painting lies beyond this throne. I shall reveal it to you if you defeat me in battle.
What?
The last test is a test of strength. I shall only reveal the painting to those whom I deem worthy. One might also say that there is no need for those who are unworthy to lay their eyes upon it. But be forewarned, I am a formidable foe. I trust you are well prepared. The immortal Lester De Rosso has been defeated? I am a man of my word. Behold the final painting.
This painting...
It is the angel descended from the heavens during my final battle against Juliana.
An angel?
When we last did battle 1800 years ago, the battle raged 100 days. The mountains of Norende rent asunder. Knowing the battle was reaching its end, I mustered the last of my strength to cast my greatest of spells. As my final attack surged forth, the angel did descend from the skies over Norende.
Are you sure it was an angel?
Verily so, for there are no other words to describe her. For a moment, Juliana and I stood captivated. Before we realized it, our struggle was forgotten. We both tended to the angel, but the angel lost her light. Her wings were shattered and her body torn asunder. There seemed little hope she would live. When she came to her senses, she trembled with fear. Yet with little remaining strength in her body, she made unto us an appeal.
What appeal? What did the angel say to you?
Ere she passed from this world, she slipped in and out of consciousness over many a day. In between ever-growing periods of unconsciousness, it was all she could do to mutter incoherently. A trap most vile, such a fool am I. The warriors of light, if it's not too late. These she would repeat over and over. When she did come to her senses, she would speak of the calamity that had befallen her. She spoke of how Luxemdark was on the brink of doom, and spoke with precision of the events that has heralded its coming. She herself was surprised to find that she knew of details of our past, and events of the future as well. The struggle between the old faith and orthodoxy, the tragedy that would befall my family, my immortality, even events of the distant future.
The distant future?
Yes. For the angel spoke of events that have not come to pass even now. Events that await you in your future. She told of a bringer of evil who would appear in the guise of one friendly to the Vestals and seduce them into unleashing chaos in the name of awakening the crystals. This evil one would destroy Luxemdark by piercing the boundary that protects this world, and the opening of a great rift that sunders the earth shall herald its coming.
The Great Chasm.
The angel told of many other omens ere the Great Chasm would open. The light of earth shall raise up the north, and a deathly plague shall cover all the lands. Then shall a great rift rend the earth. She then entrusted me with a certain task, one that only an immortal such as I could fulfill.
What sort of task could only an immortal fulfill?
That I cannot say, for she swore me to secrecy, but thereupon she quietly passed from this world. For 3 days and 3 nights, my former mortal enemy Juliana and I spoke of what had transpired. Ultimately, we vowed to join forces to prepare for the coming doom of which the angel had foretold.
The painting of the angel. It all started with this fateful meeting.
Lord De Rosso, there is one last matter I fail to understand.
Why Juliana and I forgave the rebel Templar, even rendering him aid?
Yes.
Juliana and I conspired in a masquerade. He rose through the Orthodoxy's ranks for vanquishing me, and I went into hiding. That was when the first of the angel's omens came to be. The land's ringing Eternia began to rise. While the second omen, the plague, had not yet come to pass, we continued to watch over the crystals and the Orthodoxy. So did 1,700 years pass in relative peace, save for a handful of suspicious crises surrounding the crystals. It was not till 30 years ago that the omens returned as if out of legend. First, the land's ringing Eternia began to rise once more. 10 years later, the Great Plague struck, whereupon I knew the Great Chasm was coming. It was then that we began our preparations to strike. It was evident from this series of events that the crystals were involved in some manner. Before the appearance of the Great Chasm, we would assault the temples and seize the crystals. we readied our forces for this plan. I entrusted the task to the Templar, a former cleric of the Orthodoxy. He was also to lead the newly mustered host.
Father.
While far from infallible, that was the best response I could manage for the coming of the Great Chasm. But I was soon faced with another problem, for the Orthodoxy began conspiring to hold the Grand Ritual in a bid to regain authority.
The Grand Ritual? But that is forbidden! It raises the energy long accumulated within a crystal to a cataclysmic level!
Indeed, and the Templar feared the heavy toll it would exact upon the crystal. He counseled us to dispatch our forces to the head temple with the greatest of haste. Were we to overlook the Grand Ritual and focus upon the coming Great Chasm? Or was the ritual the event that would bring upon the chasm? To wait or attack? The Templar and I could not agree. And so it was, he alone decided to lead a great host against the head temple and the Temple of the Crystal.
That is why my father did what he did?
As I have said before, the Templar is not the sort to send troops into battle over private matters, be they concerned with his wife or not. We threw our backing behind the Templar-led forces. Forever did we believe in his tireless resolve and action. And though the one we backed is the one you have defeated, that is perhaps but a small link in the great chain of events of which the angel foretold.
Eri! That light is almost blinding. Are you sure Grand Ship is going to survive in there?
We'll be fine. Let's head on in. But only if everyone is ready. Once we go in, there's no turning back. I'm not even sure what'll happen. I mean, this is a first for me, too. So, if you have anything you need to do, now's the time. Well, everyone ready? Okay then, here we go!
It's so beautiful.
I thought it might tear us apart, but instead, it's smooth sailing.
This light, it feels so warm.
I know. And so gentle. And somehow familiar, too.
Dad, you and Zach should go somewhere safe for now. Just in case.
If you say so. You be careful now.
Look, everyone! My brooch is starting to absorb the first light from the holy pillar! Once it is completely full, the light will begin to spread across all the world, sweeping away the darkness. Stay there and keep watch, okay? Oh, and keep steady at the helm. We'll have to start all over again if we move out of the light.
Right. Leave it to me.
I need to start meditating so I can focus. Don't bother me till I'm done. I mean, who knows what might happen if I lose my focus?
Understood.
Okay, here goes. A wondrous and beautiful first light! My brooch awaits your divine radiance!
So much for smooth sailing.
Are you certain the ship is going to survive this in one piece?
I think she will hold together unless it gets much...
worse?
What was that?
It's getting worse!
It's Dats and Zats! To the deck, quick!
Alternus Dim, what business do you have here?
I come on orders of the Lord Marshal. He has foreseen your folly. And I am here to stop you before you bring ruin unto this world.
Alternus, stop this insanity! It's already over!
Silence! This is not over until I say it is.
If anything were to happen to Eri right now, ring a bell, go back to the bridge! Right!
First, you must get by me.
This ship will tumble out of control if we don't do something!
This ship shall go crashing down, along with all on board. Idia, you know not the Lord Marshal's mind.
We've already settled the matter between us. You have no business interfering now!
Settled the matter? Nothing has been settled. All you have is a false sense of understanding. Wind Vestal, I should have killed you long ago. You have become the bane of Eternia. Nay, all the world. Never again shall you deceive Idia.
I've no interest in your foul, twisted beliefs. It is my sworn task to save the world from ruin, and I shall not fall before my task is done!
Open your eyes, Idia. These traitorous scum have deceived you. Join me now in defeating the Vestal.
How could you say such a thing? Agnes has become a dear friend of mine.
Grand ship's pitching even worse now! She won't hold up much longer!
In the foul, reeking underslums of Flora, I survived on muddy waters and gritty sands. But what choice does one have when abandoned soon after birth? Hatred for this accursed world had been my sustenance. That is, until the Grand Marshal saved me. He took me in and raised me as if I were his own. To help him fulfill his ideals became my purpose, my will to live. And now, you fools, you have...
Alternus. Alternus, your face.
Why?
Alternus!
I don't understand. Why'd his face look like... he dropped this journal?
It looks identical to Ring-a-Bell's.
Ring-a-Bell, who or what are you?
The ship cannot withstand much more of this! Back to the bridge! We'll talk about this later, Ring-a-Bell!
Right.
Alternus.
Hold on, everyone!
The ship has never shaken like this before. What's happening?
The ship won't respond. She's out of control.
How can this be?
It's as if we're being drawn in by an invisible force.
Drawn in?
Eri! Eri, what's happening? Can you not sweep away the darkness?